I call this meeting of Township High School District 211 Board of Education to order. May I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Bradley.
Aye.
Mrs. Cavill, here. Mr. Kramer. Mr. Dombrowski. Mr. McGowan.
Here.
Mr. Rosenblum.
Here.
Mrs. Klimkowitz.
Here. Would everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The next item on our agenda is public comments, and we do have 5 people who have signed up for it. And as always, the board welcomes you, and we're pleased to listen to your comments this evening. It's important that you know this is a public board meeting and not a dialogue, so the board members will not be responding to your comments or answering questions at this time. As a reminder, the board meeting is being taped and live streamed. We ask that you value the procedures and decorum of our meeting and be respectful to those at the podium so they may be heard. When I call your name, please come forward to the podium and state your name for the record. Though not required, you may state if you're a resident of the district. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. You will receive a notification when you have 1 minute remaining. Any individual's unused time or place in order may not be deferred to another individual. If you wish a response from the superintendent, please leave your name and number with Mr. Teneper, and someone will return the call to you. The first person I have is Kelly Lempentina, and then it will be followed by Amy Nelson.
Thank you.
Hi, again and again. I feel compelled to continue to come and speak over and over because I've worked so hard to get here, and I've planted such deep roots in this district, and I feel proud to be in this district. I've literally done everything I can do to be an active, loving, compassionate, hardworking citizen of this community. I respect my peers and their opinions, and I reach out and rely on them to help me through things I may not necessarily agree with. I've had countless conversations with people, and especially those that I believe will challenge my opinion. I will say that there has not been one thing, I will say there is one thing that we do all agree with, is that there should not be any mandates, and these vaccines are a personal and parent choice. Because quite frankly, no one should be making a choice for someone else's body and life. If you are for these mandates and even one person dies or is debilitated from it, you're an accessory to it. I will not be an accessory to anyone's harm because I am a God-fearing American, and it is against my faith, the Constitution, and our civil rights. I ask my peers why you don't practice your civil rights and freedoms and come and speak their opinions. Most said that they'd lose their job, and when you have children and you are a parent, you cannot fight like someone that has less to lose. Parents have to feed and house their children, and if they're lucky enough, send them to college. We cannot afford this fight. Parents cannot afford to lose their jobs. You know we all deserve better. The board deserves better. Teachers deserve better. Our students deserve better. All of us, independent, Republican, and Democratic, deserve better. The Washington Post states more than 15 studies have demonstrated the power of immunity acquired by previously having the virus. Recently, a 700,000 person study from Israel weeks ago found that those who had experienced prior infections were 27 times less likely to get a second symptomatic COVID infection than those who were vaccinated. This affirmed a Cleveland Clinic study of healthcare workers who are often exposed to the virus, in which it says none who had previously tested positive for the coronavirus got reinfected. The study authors concluded that individuals who have had the SARS-CoV-2 infection are unlikely to benefit from the COVID-19 vaccination. The current CDC's position about vaccinating children also dismisses the benefits of natural immunity. Their study is outdated and based on infinitely smaller size. A school in LA just mandated vaccines for students 12 and up who want to learn in person, but young people are less likely to suffer severe long-lasting symptoms from COVID-19 than adults and have experienced rare heart complications from vaccines. In Israel, heart inflammation has been observed in males ages 16 to 24. What are we going to do if our students are mandated to take this vaccine? Do parents have a choice? I believe in this district. Our teachers do not have a choice. I hope you are not enforcing this on our teachers. We deserve better than this. Our school board should be pushing back on whoever they answer to for us. I don't know why you are not pushing back. If you did, it would force them to do better for us. It would force them to study these new findings and put a halt on all these mandates. Since there is no accountability for these mandates, I truly feel that nobody enforcing this even cares. We need to know how this board is going to protect its ability to act
Have
under
1
its
minute
own
remaining.
control instead of state and federal mandates. I want this great, diverse, progressive school district board to know that if you push back, you will have my full support. I will help you in any way that I can. I will call everyone in this district to come together so that we can save our voice. I will do what it takes for the future of our kids and everyone in this district and country. We deserve so much better than this. We also deserve to be unified on a parent's choice. Thank you.
Thank you. Amy Nelson, and followed by Max Cease.
Good evening, Superintendent Small, members of the school board. My name is Amy Nelson, and I have been a resident of this district for over 21 years. My husband and I are proud parents of 2 Palatine High School graduates. With hospitalizations, cases, positivity rates continuing to decline significantly, hopefully Governor Pritzker will remove the state's indoor mask mandate so we can get back to masks optional in the schools. In case you need a gentle reminder, that is your most recent on-the-record decision regarding masks, as voted on unanimously by the board back in July. So moving on. I was here almost 3 years ago, standing in this very room, alone. There was like maybe one other person in here, addressing Dr. Cates and the board regarding the contract negotiations with the teachers union. The negotiations that got very ugly and was a half a breath away from the union going on strike. As the majority of you were not here at the time, I will repeat a few things I shared that night. My husband and my daughter are both teachers. I married into an entire family of educators, with 2 of them teaching in CPS for almost their entire careers. I am not a teacher, but I do believe that I have a different viewpoint than many other community members, as I am able to see firsthand the amount of work that it takes to be a great teacher, especially after the past 3 school years where COVID has had a profound impact on their jobs. I'm not here to discredit teachers. I'm not here to devalue teachers. I am, however, here to encourage you to negotiate with a union in a manner that is respectful to the taxpayers. We have some excellent teachers here in District 211. My kids had many of them. And their contracts over the years have been consistently better than most neighboring districts. This is strongly evidenced by an extremely low turnover rate. Please remember that base, step, and lane increases may not necessarily seem exorbitant for the 3 or 4 years of the next contract, but keep in mind that these amounts can lead to an exponential growth in future years, all leading to higher pension burdens on our community, your community. Many taxpayers' incomes are not increasing at the same rate. In fact, for some, their income has actually decreased and will quite possibly never catch up to what their income potential was pre-pandemic. Finally, I'm going to address something that isn't a very comfortable topic for some in this room, including myself. It's that dirty phrase, conflict of interest. Look, I'm not here to accuse anyone of anything. I just ask that serious consideration be given to examining your individual elected responsibility to represent all taxpayers, not just the union that provided you donated services and/or funds throughout your campaigns. I've heard some people try and compare the donations to the union-backed Slate, Anna Curtis Tim Act, whatever that was, to one board member's sizable donation from a well-known individual that is associated with a specific political party. Here's the difference. That politically affiliated individual is not coveting your vote that could result in a potentially significant financial profit for their members. Because if he was, well, that would be a conflict of interest. Thank you.
Thank you. Max, and then following Max Cease would be Kim Pinkerman.
Sorry, I got my comments here. My name's Max, and I just wanted to briefly speak about a couple of things. First off, I wanted to thank the board for continuing to have mask mandates in school. I think that is incredibly important, and despite the parade of hogs that have come through, you stayed strong, so I appreciate that. I am a former student of District 211. I'm a proud student of District 211. I am happy of the education that I received when I went to Hoffman High and Schaumburg High. I learned a lot of great things in that time, and I feel like both of those schools set me up to get into college and ultimately reach the potential that I have today. So it saddens me quite a bit to see so many people now attacking the school district that I love so much, especially over something as silly and pointless as mask mandates, when they've been known to keep people alive. Same with vaccines. I just want to give a couple figures here. So we have the unvaccinated are 11 times more likely to die from COVID-19. There is no evidence that vaccines have caused any deaths anywhere related to COVID-19 in that it's not like an adverse effect to some other health condition that the person has. We do not have confirmed info on exactly the long-term effects of COVID-19, and in fact, we have seen many people suffer from what are called short long-term effects, such as difficulty breathing, asthma, emphysema, erectile dysfunction, etc. I don't see any need to inflict that on children when they didn't ask for it. Kids aren't asking to be anti-mask, they're not asking to be anti-vax. It's the exceptional individuals who are unfortunately in charge of their lives. So I just want to personally say, thank you, District 211 School Board. You've done way more for public health and children's safety than even a lot of parents are doing right now.
Thank you. Kim Pinkerman, followed by Kristen, well, Kristen Steele is not here unless she returns.
All right, hello, everybody. I do have 3 kids from high school. I'm just going to make this very quick. I'm not going to talk about the vaccines or masks or any of that kind of thing. I graduated from Fremden in 1990. My husband graduated from Fremden in 1985. My sister graduated in 1986. We have lived here, I think, for over 45 years. I've watched my nieces come through. I'm now watching my kids come through. I really have to say I was incredibly disappointed of how this district handled homecoming, and I know it's not one of the highest things that people are talking about. I've been to more homecomings at this school. I've been around here longer than some of you have. There was no buzz. There was no fire. Like, there wasn't an electricity for these kids to have. And I just wanted to say something tonight because I really think, I'm not saying that the school didn't do as much as they could within the boundaries that they had because of Pritzker. So I'm not saying anything of that. The dance, actually, most of the kids loved it, that it was outside. They're inside, they get super hot, they don't like it. So that I thought was wonderful. The rain held out, it was great. The homecoming court, I thought was an absolute travesty. If you guys don't want to make this a popularity contest, I have absolutely I have no problem with that. But you put 18 kids on the ground or on the field. They're not dressed up. There's no really anything to give them any type of recognition for the hard work that they did or why they were picked or why are they outstanding children. If we want to change it a little bit, my mom was the homecoming queen when she was younger. My grandfather was in a suit and walked her down the field. Like, can we not do something to really let these kids stand out instead of one girl standing out on the field doing this with her crop top on. Like, I really thought that we could have done better for the kids. And or Powder Puff saying that it's not gender neutral, which is some of what I had heard, and I am gonna FOIA all the stuff for it. It is my fault. I guess I was not ready that the children or the kids would not be able to play a girls' football game. Why not? Because all the boys can't be in there? It is for the girls. The boys already get their homecoming game. Like, why do we always, in our society, why is it happening that some of these traditions have to be ripped out from the kids right underneath them? Why did the girls have to go play a football game at Northfield because the school would not sponsor them to do it? It's ridiculous, and it's really kind of uncalled for. And I talked to a lot of parents about it. I talked to a lot of kids about it. And I just wanted you to know they were incredibly disappointed that this event did not happen. I know you guys got a lot of backlash. Schaumburg got a lot of backlash about not doing it, and so did Hoffman. And even, the last thing I'm gonna say, I drove by the Capture the Flag game on Wednesday because I wanted to see how it was or how people were being receptive to it. There were maybe, the cheerleaders were mandated to go, or they were told they had to be there, because one of my daughters is one, which was fine. She had no problem going. But there were maybe 30 kids that showed up. It was a total dud. The kids weren't even interested in doing it. Barrington had their Powder Puff game. I have a friend that works at Barrington, and he was chaperoning at the game. He said there were over 300 people there. So I would just ask, and next year, we already have some parents that we will be more involved to state our piece. But I really hope next year that we can do a little better and bring we can change the traditions. I have no problem with that. But we don't need to take them away how we did this year. And I think it was really in poor judgment in the part
You
of
have
the
1 minute
schools.
remaining.
And that's it. That's all I have to say. I'm good.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board? Okay, if not, then at this point,
I'm not prepared,
okay,
so I
please,
apologize.
State your name and if
My
you
name
would
is
like.
Magdalena Zabłocki, and I have four kids in a district. And regarding the
Excuse me,
masks,
Excuse me. The lady is speaking, so thank you. Go ahead, ma'am.
I'm not sure if you're aware that kids in many European countries, they don't have to wear masks to school, or only if they walked in, and they, just like we all, when we go to restaurants, they can take them off. For obvious reason, the kids' pronunciation, the way they learn, the way they observe the other people when they speak has a lot to do with the facial expression and lips being visible. Also, teachers can understand kids much, much better when they don't see the face expression and lips, particular lips. For many other psychological other reason. So that's what it is. In Europe, they don't have to, or they have to just walk in and then take them off, just like we hear in the restaurants. Another reason regarding vaccinations, I'm very glad that people who decided it's for their families, for their health, the doctor's decision, doctor's advice they follow, they can have vaccinations. It can absolutely not be decision of politicians or local or higher to mandate and be a parent. It's a parent decision to mandate their kids. And I really hope this board will take this under consideration. Despite your opinion, if you're pro-vaccination, pro-mask, against, think about it. If the table switches and you give this right to the government, to the politician to decide for you, if the table switch, you staying with the same laws and you're gonna hate them. I come 23 years ago from the communist country. I grew up in a family that was not signed up to the one and only party, and therefore we did not have privileges. I was not going to the camps like the other kids whose parents decided to do that. I'm not saying I suffered as much as in Gulag, but I know what it is. What I'm trying to say, the more power you give to the government, the less it is for you to decide, even if it doesn't matter what party you are presenting. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, at this point, the recommended action is that the board enter closed session to discuss collective negotiation matters between the public body and its employees or their representatives. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Bradley.
Here.
Mrs. Cavill, aye. Mr. Kramer. Mr. Dombrowski. Mr. McGowan.
Aye.
Mr. Rosenblum.
Aye.
Mrs. Klunkowitz.
Aye. Thank you. Education returned to open session at 8:21 PM. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Let's see. Mr. Bradley.
Here.
Excuse me. Are we doing yes, okay. Should I call everybody?
Yes.
Whether they're absent? Okay. Mr. Kramer. Mrs. Cavill. Here, aye. Mr. Bradley, I covered. Mr. Dombrowski. Mr. McGowan. Mr. Rosenblum.
Aye.
Mrs. Klunkowitz.
Aye. And with no other business coming before us, the meeting is adjourned.